Hello, my 0200 friends. Welcome to week 5, psychological aspects of aging. So, in the previous weeks, you kind of got all the biological building blocks. These are the changes that happen, especially when we're looking at the brain, because this applies to the mind, which is psychology. So you take all these building blocks of these basic changes that are happening in the nervous system, and then also these pathological changes that were discussed. And now you assemble to them together, and you get this concept of mind and consciousness, and that's what this chapter is all about. What to think about, what to focus in on this. Okay, again, there's lots and lots of psychologists had theoretical models of what happens in terms of the life course. Okay, not just aging. Okay, and all the different stages or phases that you go through. It makes perfect sense. Okay, you have two basic things. Okay, you have the hand you've been dealt. Okay, which is your genetics. Okay, you are what you are. Okay, and then as you course throughout your lifespan development, you have all these different forks in the road. And I've had plenty of buddies who turned left when I turned right, and I continued my intellectual development, and they decided not to. Okay, and it is what it is. You can stagnate or you can continue to grow. And the mind is this amazing plastic thing. That's a colloquial term that behavioral neuroscientists and basic science neuroscientists talk about, the plasticity in the brain and how it adapts and grows and changes with respect to the environment. Okay, so that's what basically the nuts and bolts of the theoretical models. You have the genetics and you have the environment. Okay, and it's the blend of those two that determines your intellectual abilities. Okay. Now, when we look and analyze cognitive aspects of aging, and we focus just on aging, we see this breakdown into two different categories of intelligence, if you want. It's really about how the brain works. It was called fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Okay, so let's begin with the crystallized intelligence. The crystallized intelligence basically is all the factoids that you accumulate through all your entire life. Okay. And kind of the way I look at it is, you guys, at your ripe age of early 20s, you have kind of a coffee can filled with marbles, and that is all of the factoids that you've accumulated throughout your life. Okay. By the time you get to my ancient age, 56, I don't have a coffee can anymore. I have this giant barrel of marbles. Okay, and so while there's a lot of wisdom, okay, that comes from having all these life experiences and marbles that I can draw from, oftentimes when I need to access that information, I gotta sift through a whole lot of marbles to finally find what it is I was trying to use in terms of being able to be more adaptive to that present situation in my environment. Okay, so that's one thing, and we find that as we get older, memory retrieval does slow. Okay, the other aspect of intelligence is what was called fluid intelligence, and that is the processing speed. How quickly can you access information? And for many of the biological reasons, we see that the processing speed of individual nerve cells gets slower and slower and slower as you get older. Okay, so when you're at the sociological level, okay, and many of you guys will be there someday you will find that you'll have an older employee. Okay, and that older employee, it can get the job done. Okay, they have all the crystallized knowledge, crystallized intelligence to get the job done, but their fluid intelligence is much slower, so it's going to take them longer to get the job done. Okay, and that's just kind of a take-home message about that. Okay, and there's not much you can do about the fluid intelligence thing. It seems a very consistent effect. Okay, we next then went into the personalities. Again, theoretically, we have these 5 different aspects of our personality. People like to get pigeonholed into each one, but the reality is we're all kind of this milieu, this blend of each of them. So you can be neurotic, you can be extroverted, you can be open, you can be agreeable, and you can be conscientious. Okay, and we're all it's like taking a deck of cards and shuffling them. So we're all some mix of all those. Okay, it goes into other aspects of affect, and that's what it's referred to. And this affect In terms of disease, depression is a big one. Okay, and so we don't see an increase in the incidence of depression. In fact, on a numbers basis of people, of individuals, you guys are at the highest risk for clinical depression. Okay, and it's thought to be a result of developmental changes that are happening in your dopamine brain system, in your serotonin brain system, and your norepinephrine brain system. These things are very late in developing, and consequently, when they finally go full bore, it takes time to just kind of come to grips with everything, and so again, you're at high risk. That being said, when you look at older people, when they do get depressed, it's called appropriate depression more often because they have things that are very depressing going on in their life. Physical disability, deaths in the family, things like this. And so oftentimes they find themselves in a much deeper depression than you would say in somebody that is your age. Okay. We then finish things up with the discussion on dementia. Remember, dementia is just a diagnosis for cognitive impairment. The only thing, we don't have a blood test, we don't have a skin test. The only thing that is used is a psychological battery of tests called the mini mental status exam. And again, it's just a diagnosis. There, as many of you commented, there are lots and lots of reasons. Alzheimer's disease is the most common, but Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, all have dementia associated with them. You can have reversible dementias, for example, when you have liver disease, kidney disease. These are reversible forms of dementia. You can have dementia that's called pseudodementia, that's just associated with the drug therapy that you happen to be on. So you take away that drug therapy, for example, some clinical depressants and things like that, and lo and behold, the cognitive impairment disappears. Okay, the focus is on Alzheimer's disease because it is the most common form of dementia, and so this is where most of the research and funding is going after. Okay, I'm being kind of long-winded. Okay, you guys did great on the discussion. Most of you got the memo, okay? And that memo was interaction. Get in that discussion board. Just don't post. I expect you to post and post well and use your reading in terms of the analysis that you do. But you really need to read other people's stuff, post on what they say. They may respond to you. You got to go back. Blackboard sucks, okay? It's not like Facebook, okay? You don't get an email update when somebody has posted on your comment. You got to go back in there and look and look and look and look, okay? The more postings, the more happy I am, okay? All right, good luck, guys, and we'll see you next week.